I have a question for you. How activated is your throat chakra? How activated is your throat chakra? What am I talking about? Stick around. That's what we're diving into today's episode. So let's start off with this. When you have a vision for what you desire, what do you do with that vision? Where do you place it? Where does it go? Does your vision get ignored? Do you decide to settle for less than what your vision has showed you? Do you feed yourself with the lie that because you don't know the how, that vision cannot be done? Do you shut the vision down? Do you close it? Do you pretend like it isn't there because you have never seen anyone in your community rise to that big vision, to that big level? And because you've never seen anyone have such an expansive and explosive experience in their life? Do you ignore the vision because you hear a thought that doesn't even belong to you, that tells you, who are you? Who are you to live in such a big way with such a big vision? Do you know what this means? Those are questions that come up when you have a vision from your soul that pops into your mind's eye. I want to propose to you this. What would happen if every time you have a vision for what you desire, a vision that first fills up your imagination, and then at the same time, it fills up your body with peace, with joy, with excitement, with wonderment? You activate. What if instead of you ignoring that vision, what if instead of you listening to all of those questions, what if you activate your creation power, your creative power, by speaking that vision out loud exactly as your spirit showed it to you? What if? I want you to think about that. Hold that space. Breathe into that. Let that settle in your nervous system. Let that settle in your body for a minute. You have been programmed, especially with religion, that you have to wait to be told how to live your life, what to do in it, what you should want, when to do anything, how to do it, all by external means, or all by some external avenue, or some person sitting up in the sky that you have to wait for to give you permission to go and pursue a thing. Regardless of how you look at it, you have been programmed to look at an avenue outside of you to give you permission to want what you want. All right? So you have heard phrases like, well, I want this, but only if it's God's will. I just want the will of God in my life. I'm going to wait for God to show me what to do. These are stories. These are constructs. These are phrases. These are ways that have been used to strip you from your creative power that is ancient. I am reminded of a prayer that I heard. It was an individual who had a loved one that had been diagnosed with a very serious health condition. And that I heard that individual pray something like, God, please heal my loved one. But even if you don't heal, even if you don't, I just want your will to be done. Now, what type of prayer is that? And I know that sounds like I'm judging. Perhaps I am. But I used to say those prayers when I was still allowing religious programming to operate in my system. As a sovereign being, quite frankly, would not say that. A sovereign being would get into their magic, would get into the power of their throat chakra and command healing and command whatever needed to be done so that their desire is to see their loved one well. That would be the command. There would be no, if it be someone else's will. No, if it is your will as a divine being, then so it is. And we are not taught by religion that it can be that, dare I say, easy. That is the power that we came here to yield, not to control people, but to offer and be an avenue of liberation. I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me go back. So, the constructs of religious programming, it is used to strip you of your creative power. It's used to strip you of your connection to your own spirit that holds the key to create, that holds the key to manifest. Constructs, religious constructs, strip you of your natural power to breathe and to speak into the ethers what your soul has shown you. You come into this world, okay, as a soul carrying jewels. Okay, think of your visions like that, of jewels of the most precious kind. Jewels that appear as visions of abundance of all things good and perfect, including money. You hold jewels that appear as prosperity, as complete health and wellness, as wholeness, as healing, as liberation, as confidence, as power. Again, power not to control, but the power to stand in your divinity, the power to stand in your own love, the power to stand in your own spirit, the power to stand in your own spiritual technology. So you have to begin to understand that your visions must be held with the utmost respect and reverence because they come from your soul. I remember, and sometimes this image will still come up, and it took me a long time to really come into the realization of what this vision meant. But I would always go into meditation, and I would always end up with this vision of this gold box covered in a bunch of jewels, emeralds, amethysts, rubies, just completely covered. And I would get to a point where I would open it, and there would be this big key. That's it. Just this big key. And I would come to the realization that that key meant for me that I hold the key to manifest. I hold the key to create with my words, with my body, with my energy. Okay? So I wanted to share that with you. So let's go back. I'm going to say this again. You have to understand that your visions must be held with the utmost reverence and respect because they come from your soul. It's not a vision that someone handed to you. This is yours. It's coming from your spirit. So the way to activate those jewels is by speaking them, speaking to them, speaking with them, speaking for them, cultivating them. So when you do that, not only are you nurturing those visions, but you are activating and unleashing your creative power. Isn't that why this is called Unleashed Alchemy? You are unleashing your power when you choose the power that is in your throat chakra. That's what you're doing. You're awakening your creative genes up. Okay. You're awakening your breath to encompass more than just the flow of oxygen. You're awakening your breath and your body as the whole avenue of creation and the energetic force of creation. You're awakening your consciousness to now intentionally speak, knowing that what you say is already complete, that what you say is already so. We're going to be talking more about the power of the throat chakra. Before we go, the reason why I want you to know the reason why I'm bringing this up is because embracing the power of my words, which goes beyond belief, that was one of the main things that helped me to recognize blind spots of where religious programming was operating in my nervous system, where I still held on to the identity of someone who operated under the constructs of religious dogma. It would be one of the main things would be using the power of my words to recognize that. So that is why it's important for me to share this on this platform, because embracing the power of your throat chakra is important to you regaining and reconnecting with your sovereign being. Okay? So, in the end, I want you to go to unleashedalchemy.com, where you can sign up for a one-on-one session package with me. It is a package of 24 sessions, all right, where I walk you through a process. I take you through a process, all right? And when I say process, it's not necessarily an orderly step 1, step 2, step 3. There's processes that are intertwined. These are processes that I use to recognize blind spots in my nervous system so that I could fully embrace who I am as a cosmic sovereign being after spending half of my life in religious programming. And yet, even after I left, that programming was still taking effect in my life. So it would take another 20 plus years before I recognize that. Does not have to take you long at all. That was not necessary, but perhaps it was so that this is what I'm bringing to the world in this moment. So I said all that to say, go to my website, go to unleashedalchemy.com. You can book a call with me so that we can talk a little bit more about what those sessions are going to bring you. Okay. The transformation that you're going to experience within each session, because you will walk away after each session with practical steps that you can begin to integrate into every single part of your life. Okay. Also, I have courses, single courses. I have books that are also powerful and transformative tools that you can add to your spiritual bag as you grow more and more in your sovereign existence. All right. And until next time, be powerful, be sovereign.